Okay, in this video, I'm going to do something that I haven't done before, and I'm going to go some places psychologically that I haven't gone. So if I look a little weird, then you'll forgive me for that, and I'll explain why that is. I want to talk about knife defense in this video. And I want to talk about two things that you need to do if you're serious about knife defense. And I'm posting this video because people have asked me to do things, to share some techniques on knife defense. And I've always hesitated. Over a period of 12 years, I've hesitated to put up many. I've put up some, but I've hesitated to put up many videos on knife defense. One of the major issues, I'm just going to jump right in. One of the major issues that I have with people is they don't respect the blade. They don't respect the blade. They see knife defense as some kind of fantasy, as some kind of thing that they can willy-nilly train in, willy-nilly make some DVDs or downloads and sell to the public. And it's one thing for people to be gullible when it comes down to grappling. It's another thing, and it's another thing for people to be gullible when it comes down to striking. Okay, but when it comes down to not really respecting the damage that a knife can do to the human body, whether being used in a slashing attack or a stabbing attack, a thrusting attack, to be ignorant of that is something that the only word that comes to me is this one. It may sound corny. I beg you to get more serious about what the knife can do to the human body. You've never heard me talk like that. And I know it sounds corny. It may even sound soft. But I would not wish on some of my most disrespectful critics the kind of trauma that can come from not taking the knife seriously. So in this video, I'm going to tell you two things, recommend two things that you do. As I'm making this video, I'm actually thinking about 2 times that I was attacked with a knife. And this is why my studies of NLP, which I will be talking about that, I will be doing some videos on that on my new channel down the road, God willing. But since starting to study neuro-linguistic programming about 10 years ago, I became even better at visualizing things. So I'm visualizing these as I'm speaking to you. I'm not trying to, but it's almost impossible not to. And it probably is impossible not to visualize the 2 times that I was attacked with a knife. So I'm replaying that back in my, I'm replaying it again in my head. Eventually I will get right and my speech will start to straighten out. I won't do this video over again because the same thing will happen. My brain has to accept that I'm not being stabbed and not being attacked, and then it will calm down. But at this point, I'm still visualizing it while I'm speaking to you, so I have to, it will settle. So what I want to do here is I want to tell you that one way to know when people are phony is if they talk about a knife attack, them being attacked with a knife, and they weren't traumatized by it. A blade is so serious. Someone legitimately trying to kill you with a knife is something that you never get over if it actually happened to you and you survive it. And you survived it. For anyone to tell you that they've been attacked with a knife and someone was trying to kill them, if they tell you they were not traumatized by it, and you let them know that they can tell you that it's not something you'll laugh at, you won't consider them as less of a man. If it's a man, of course, women have been attacked too, but in this case, we're talking about men. If they are sure that you won't laugh at them or you won't think less of them, if that individual then tells you that they were not traumatized by someone attacking them in the attempt to kill them with a knife, they're lying to you, because it is something you never ever get over with. You never ever get over it. That being said, before you train in any kind of knife defense, I want you to first know one thing. There is no such thing, as far as I'm concerned, in knife defense as knife defense. There is death defense. What I mean by that is that if you were going against someone who has a knife and you have engaged them and you don't have any weapon, you are likely going to be stabbed or you're going to be slashed. I'm going to say it again. I hesitate to talk about knife defense. There is something called death defense. But knife defense is something that should always be said or written with asterisks. Because if you go up against someone who has a knife and you do not have a knife and you engage them, chances are very good you are going to be stabbed or slashed. So let's look at the two things I want to share with you. One is psychological, the other one is physical. And both of these things should be considered and practiced before you train in any knife defense. Okay? And you can do both of these things by yourself. Even if you're being taught knife defense by a teacher, you can do these two things on your own. Number one, psychologically. Psychologically, right? Psychological. You need to try to envision yourself being slashed or being stabbed. You need to try sincerely to visualize yourself being slashed or stabbed. Because there are people who mutilate themselves. They mutilate themselves. And often doctors are surprised by how deep the wounds are. Doctors are often surprised by how they can inflict this kind of damage. People can mutilate themselves, self-mutilate themselves, and inflict that kind of damage on them and be able to do it and withstand the pain. There's one thing that is missing when people self-mutilate, and that is the psychological reality of trauma, of psychological trauma. They might be suffering from trauma, which leads some kind of trauma, and indeed they probably are, which leads to them mutilating themselves. But the idea that they themselves are doing it to themselves is not necessarily traumatizing. You, however, if you are attacked with a knife, you are going to be traumatized. Psychologically, you're going to be traumatized. And you need to imagine being attacked with a knife. Now, you have imagined probably today. You imagine all the time. This is largely where your emotions come from. All right? You will imagine certain things as being true when they're not true. Imagine something's going to happen when it's not very likely that it will happen. You imagine hundreds, if not thousands of times every day. Use that to imagine yourself being stabbed or slashed. Because if you ever get into a situation where someone is trying to attack you with a knife, chances are you're going to be stabbed, you're going to be slashed, but more than that is you will be traumatized by the sheer reality that someone is trying to kill you. Someone is trying to kill you, and it's very difficult for you to imagine how you feel. I don't care how tough you think you are. I don't care even if you deserve it. Even if you deserve it. The idea that someone is trying to end your life is traumatizing. And it's mostly traumatizing because many times people either don't know why someone is trying to kill them or don't believe that the punishment fits the crime. Either they don't believe that the person is trying to kill them, they can't understand why, or they believe the punishment doesn't fit the crime. In other words, that why they are trying to kill you just doesn't make much sense. Okay? So you will be psychologically traumatized by this, that someone is trying to kill you, not trying to hurt you, not trying to teach you a lesson, trying to kill you in the most vicious way imaginable. Because knives are not very clean wounds. Guns, people shoot people in fit of anger. It's a totally different attack when someone is up close and personal with a blade. So you need to psychologically imagine someone trying to kill you. Someone trying to peel the flesh off your bones. Someone trying to drive a piece of steel or metal or whatever through your body, into your flesh. You need to understand that. You need to use your fantastic brain, your miraculous brain, to try to make it as realistic as possible and envision someone trying to kill you. Next, the physical aspect. You have to learn to respect the blade. And I'm going to show you how you do that. Now, I'm not going to lift my shirt and show you some of the wounds, under my shirt. But here is where a knife went in here in this part of my arm and came out the other end and just barely missed the arteries. But I'm going to show you something, a training that will help you psychologically deal, or at least train yourself for the potentiality of being slashed or stabbed. You want to take a blade. You want to take a blade, a sharp blade, a real knife, and you want to press it into your skin like this. But don't break the skin. Right before you break the skin, you need to feel it. Press it. Let it be sharp. Don't break the skin, but you need to feel the blade. You need to feel the blade. Maybe turn it this way. Turn it in. Turn it here. You need to feel the blade, because when you're slashed, it burns. It burns. You need to feel it, not look at it. Right before you break the skin, you need to feel this blade so you understand it. You need to feel it against your skin. You need to feel it. Feel it. Put the blade up. Put it up. Put it on your face. Turn it down. Turn it up. Put it in. Feel it. Not with this part. No, with this part. Here. 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 Now you take the point. Put it in. That's gonna hurt. Don't break the skin. You need to feel it. Because when it goes in your flesh, it's gonna burn. Put it on your face. put it up here. You need to feel it. You need to feel it. You need to respect the knife. Because when you respect the knife and you respect what it can do, not only are you going to train properly, but you are going to control your ego out of respect that someone may have it or you may have to use it. Okay? You need to respect the blade, because once you enter into an attack, whether you have a knife and that person also has a knife, or that person has a knife only and you don't have a knife. If you have a knife, if that person has a knife and you picked up a garbage can, the potential of someone being that personal to use something like this is something that you need to be very, very clear in all concepts, in all ways that you want to deal with something like this. And the only way to respect it, the only way to truly respect it, is to put that steel on you and let you know that this will burn. A slash burns like someone has opened up your arm, okay, and put a match in it. I can feel the points. Every place that I put this point, I can feel it still. I can feel it. And it stings. And it burns. Don't break the skin. You don't have to. That's the best advice I can give to you. Anyone who laughs and jokes about being attacked with a knife or being in a knife fight is fake as shit. They are fake as shit. Because even if you win a knife fight, even if you survive a knife attack, you will never the same again. Ever. See you next video.